Oh, hey guys, sorry I can't talk right now. I'm sort of running for my life.
I think I'm safe. So you may be looking at me and asking yourself, what the is this weirdo doing? Well, I promise you I was running for a valid reason. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm in serious trouble. And it's all because I asked one of the dumbest, most idiotic, and dangerous questions any person could ever ask.
You all want to see my vinyl collection?
Vinyl records, or as I like to call them, instant sex. I mean, come on, you're telling me you want to bang a guy that owns a vinyl collection?
Don't answer that.
So, vinyl. The is that about? Well, primarily it's a way to collect and listen to music, and it's been used this way for almost 100 years. That's like almost the beginning of time, I think. Recently though, I've been using this copy of Mercury Act 1 by Imagine Dragons I found at Target as a pizza stone.
DiGiorno's taste great.
Vinyl historically got its start whenever its inventor, Sir Hubert Vinyl Esquire, got really drunk one night and said to his friends, "Hey motherfuckers, why don't we grab a circle and a rock? We're gonna etch shit into the circle, and then hear me out, it's gonna play fucking music." Strangely enough, they all agreed to the plan and tried doing it, and after a few tries where it always sounded like rocks scraping against bone and flesh, they did it. They made the first song on vinyl. And what was the first song on vinyl? Call Me Maybe 1930s remix. Thanks for asking.
Honestly though, who cares about the totally real history of vinyl nowadays? All anyone cares about is buying them and then immediately putting it on your shelf to rot. I for one actually like to put use into my records.
Seriously though, with the recent repopularized movement of vinyl collecting and the renaissance of a specific type of unbearable dude, a lot of people can find it quite difficult and daunting to get into the scene. There's a lot of questions one may have whenever they want to start collecting records. For example, where should I buy records? Which album should I buy? What device should I listen to them on? Etc, etc. You're gonna get a lot of different answers from a lot of different big air quotes inserted here experts on the subject. And they're gonna act like what they say is fact. In their mind, there's no other path you can take about things except for their path. You gotta buy these albums, you gotta use this record player, and you should never, and I mean never, buy records online.
You. Not everyone is going to have a shitload of money to immediately waste on record collecting when they first start. Like seriously, music equipment is expensive. Like, oh my god, sorry I don't have $300 to buy a slightly better record player that has a slightly heavier weight on it. People don't collect records just to have the most authentic, contrarian music listening experience. They do it because they think it's cool. I mean, it's totally not, but hey, you're already watching this video, it's too late for you now. So everyone watching, today I'm going to give you a somewhat ultimate guide to record collecting in the most non-gatekeepy, anti-asshole way I possibly can. And we're gonna talk about everything, man. We're gonna talk about collecting, we're gonna talk about where to buy. I'm just kidding, I just wanna show off my records.
Now, you could just buy a bunch of record players and put them up on a shelf, but let's be honest, that would be pretty lame. You're gonna want to actually listen to some of the music you buy, and to do so, you'll need a turntable, aka record player. This, in my opinion, is priority numero uno when it comes to vinyl collecting, because without something to play the music on, all of those circular PVC discs are kind of useless. Turntables drastically vary in look and price depending on what you're looking for, but for most people, specifically young people that don't have that much money to drop on a record player, the classic Victrola or Crosley suitcase models have always been a popular option. Now, I know a bunch of self-proclaimed audiophiles just cried and shit their pants now that I've brought the suitcase model into the conversation, but hear me out. I used a Crosley for a few years, and despite what other customers have complained about, it was never damaging to any of my records. I have to clarify though, just because I ended up being fine, that does not mean you should play your higher quality, heavier records on these cheap suitcase turntables. They totally could cause permanent damage to any single one of your discs, and if this has ever happened to you, number one, I am so sorry, and number two, haha, get fucked loser.
Despite my Crosley model not working half the time, it trying to damage my records every time I played them, and having the worst built-in speakers of all time, it pretty much had no issues, and I loved it dearly. But once I decided it was time to get serious about collecting, I knew I had to ditch the Crosley altogether. So now, I have a Crosley.
Yep, that's right, I'm still scum of the earth. This is my current personal turntable, the Crosley C62. I know a lot of people prefer to get brands like Audio-Technica for their first real official record player, but I really enjoy this model, and I'm happy I went with it. Plus, I got it as a Christmas gift and had zero say in what I got at all, so whatever. In all seriousness though, I am extremely happy with this model. I love the look of the walnut wood coloring, and it even came with matching speakers. Speaking of speakers. Wow, I got really lucky and did not have to go out of my way to buy speakers since they came with my record player, but for a lot of turntables out there, this is not the case. I would say get whatever speakers you want, but think of something that will play best with the type of music you'll be playing most often. But like I said earlier, music equipment can get extremely expensive. For the love of all that is holy, make sure you hold yourself to some kind of budget. Don't try to break the bank. And if you do break the bank, holy f***, you're a thief, you're going to jail. To quickly touch on my own speakers, they are very nice and get the job done, but I do wish the bass was a tad louder. Other than that though, I love these things. Thanks for speaking, speakers.
F*** you, loser.
Oh, okay, you know what? F*** you, man. I pay you to star in my video and you decide to treat me like this. No, you know what? You can get your own ride home. F*** you.
So yeah, at this point in the video, that's pretty much all you need to know about how to start collecting. So we can actually move on to how to buy.
Nah, I'm just kidding. This video is going to be way more boring than you thought. Holy shit, what an interesting topic. How to put things in a place. Seriously though, if you plan on growing a vinyl collection, there's one thing you should probably understand. Vinyl is big. Like, obnoxiously big. Not only that, but they are incredibly easy to damage, as stated earlier. With something like cassettes or CDs, you can kind of just toss them wherever and not have to worry about it, but with records, if you even lay those things flat on a soft chair for a prolonged amount of time, you're in trouble. So yeah, if you want to store vinyl, you need something that will be able to properly hold something as big as vinyl and keep the vinyl from getting damaged. So with that being said, you fuckers ever heard of a bookshelf? Yep, if you're broke and don't want to go out and buy one of those weird cube organizer thingies, a bookshelf that you already own will do the trick if it's deep enough to hold 12-inch records. This is how I primarily stored my collection for a while, and even though it wasn't the most aesthetically pleasing from my point of view, by God did it get the job done. I'm gonna be honest though, I'd be lying to you if I said I was smart and always stored my records on a bookshelf where they were standing up. I made some terrible storage mistakes when I first started collecting. For starters, I used to put records on top of each other into stacks for months on end. This is a scary thing to do, and it's even scarier I decided to do it myself. In fact, I cried to myself most nights in deep regret that I ever thought this was a good idea. To make things even scarier, when I went to boarding school, I had no other option but to put all of my records into a clothes drawer. Yeah, like that kind of drawer. I literally had to put my pajamas and stuff on top of my records. It was terrifying.
There are plenty of cool and safe ways to store your records. Personally though, I prefer to go with one of those weird cube organizer thingies I was mentioning earlier. I bought mine at Target for around 70 bucks and it's just what I needed. It has a nice color that matches my turntable, it's sturdy, and it has a lot of extra space for when I inevitably expand my collection. The only downside to it is that you actually have to build it yourself because it comes in separate pieces, but thankfully I was able to do it all by myself! With a hammer! You hear that, Dad? You hear that? I didn't need your help at all.
Oh yeah, don't forget about fucking crates. You can use those things too, I think. One tiny thing I will mention quickly is the act of double sleeving your records. All this means is you go out and buy some extra plastic sleeves to put your vinyl into. While this isn't required at all, it does further protect your collection from getting any unwanted scuffs or scratches. So if that sounds like a precaution you want to take, by all means, do it. Another big aspect of storage other than making sure your records stay not broken is making sure they stay not dirty. And for them to stay not dirty, they have to stay not clean. There are plenty of ways your records may get dirty, but the main culprit you'll be fighting against is dust. I just want to do a long, unnecessary you to dust real quick because god damn it, those guys fucking suck! I don't want to go over every single way to get dust off of your records because that sounds very boring to do, but I will say this. No matter what, go out and buy one of these things, an anti-static cleaning brush. I bought this puppy for $5 and it has made my life so much easier. If you are a smart human being, buy this. Now, if your record/pizza stone doesn't have that much dust on it, but instead has some grease stains, I recommend a full-blown deep cleaning.
You gotta really get into the ridges.
Now, finally, we can talk about the important stuff. Where to get your records. There are plenty of places to buy records, and this includes mega stores like Target, FYE, and even Best Buy. However, I will be the first one to say that I do not think anyone should be buying records from these places. Look, I've tried doing a good job at not telling you what to do when it comes to your collecting journey, but I don't think I'm breaking any hearts by telling you all to not make a trip to your local Walmart to hunt for vinyl. Most of the time when I've passed by the vinyl section in stores like this, not only will you most likely only find the most popular albums to be released in the last 3 months, but the records are often in terrible condition. The only exception I'll give to this is Target. While it's still not my favorite place in the world to buy records, I'll be the first to admit that they occasionally have a cool exclusive pressing every now and then, and like I've shown you, they make great pizza stones. You can also buy records online with things like Amazon or even vinyl subscription services. I haven't used a vinyl subscription service before, so I can't really speak on that, but I can speak about Amazon. Because yeah, I've bought from Amazon before. I'm a dirty capitalist and I love killing puppies, so what? Look, I'm not gonna be an elitist and say you should never buy records from Amazon because I have bought plenty of vinyl off of Amazon. It's not the best thing in the world, but I had extra money from a gift card, so I bought a few records. Sue me. All I'm saying is don't expect the cream of the crop from Amazon. Most of the time you'll be able to find what you want, but you'll always run the risk of it getting mishandled and damaged during shipping. Plus, you'll never get a cool experience shopping on Amazon. So if all of these places sound lackluster to you, that's because they are. Yeah, the only cool place to buy records where you'll actually have fun doing it is your local, in-person, in-the-flesh record store. These places are sick, man. I love taking a trip to these shops and just wasting away hours of my life looking at albums I have never heard before in my entire life. At local record stores, not only are you able to enter an environment filled with other vinyl enthusiasts like yourself, but you also get to physically touch and examine the records you're about to buy, which I cannot stress this enough, is so important. This next comparison goes out to all my gamers out there, but everyone remembers when they were little and after they bought a game from the store, they would spend the entire car ride home staring at the cover art, reading the back of the box, all that jazz. The vinyl collector equivalent to that is standing in a record store awkwardly staring at every square object in the place for over an hour, and it's awesome. I've been to plenty of record stores in my life. Hell, I've even been to Amoeba in California before, and that was awesome. But I gotta say, I will always think my local record store is the best one out there. It just has a warm, homey feeling that makes me feel welcome every time I step into it. Plus, buying from a local record store just feels so much better than buying vinyl from big corporations. And think about it even further. Not only do you get to help out a small business, but you're also paying for a cool hangout spot to occasionally go to. It's a win-win. But alright, let's say under all circumstances, you cannot shop for vinyl in person. Well, there are two paths you should try to take for buying vinyl online that are the best ways to do so in my opinion. The first option is buying not on Amazon or some random company's online store, but rather the artist's website. Most musicians out there will have their own personal website where they'll be selling a bunch of merch including their records, and I think buying from here is a good way to directly support the artist's music. Plus, a lot of the time, especially with bands like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, most artists' online stores will have cool exclusive pressings you can only get there. If the artist does not have their own website though, I would either check their Bandcamp page or their label's website, because if they have records, they'll be on sale there. The second option for buying online that is better than getting shit off of Amazon is going to everyone's favorite website, Discogs. Once you get past the absolutely horrid user interface, this is a fantastic place to look for the exact pressing of an album you want and buy it from an actual real life person. Plus, if you really want to get rid of some vinyl you don't want or need anymore, Discogs is a great place to sell yourself. So yeah, isn't that neat, Kyle?
Alright, everyone shut the f*** up. It's time to show off my record collection.
Alright everyone, we finally made it. It's finally time to talk about the actual vinyl collection. Now, if you already have started collecting, you can just stick around to hear my seductive voice in your ear for another few minutes, but if you have not collected any records before and are about to start, you might be asking yourself a few things. What music should I primarily get on record? Are there any albums that I have to get?
Well, it's funny you say that, hypothetical person I made up while writing the script. There actually are some required albums that you have to get as a record collector, so let me tell you what they are. Who f***ing cares? Seriously, who f***ing cares what I have to say about what albums you should get for your collection? It's your collection. Make it unique to you. I hate to get unironically pissed about this, but I cannot stand those articles where it's like the 12 albums every record collector must get. The whole point of collecting is that you get what you want. You shouldn't have to decide what you get based off what a fucking article tells you. I know some people who have only collected vintage records. I know some people who have only collected video game soundtracks. And I know a guy who has only collected the Bob's Burgers soundtrack box set. That's all they own. That's real. So yeah, when it comes to collections, it's up to you. If you want to buy that record, buy it. If you don't want to buy that record, don't buy it. It's your collection. Do whatever the fuck you want. Speaking of doing whatever the fuck you want, that's exactly what I did with my record collection, so let me be narcissistic for a second and talk about me. This is my most recent purchase, Igloo Ghost's Neo Wax Bloom. This is an extremely fun UK bass and wonky electronic album, but that's not why I'm talking about it. I mean, just look at that bad boy. Not only does this record sound great on the turntable, but it's also one of the prettiest records I own. Here I have Moby's Play. I don't really love this album all that much, but I thought it would be cool to have because it's Moby and he made the funny porcelain song. Plus he's bald. Ha ha ha. Everyone laugh. Death Consciousness by Have a Nice Life. I don't play this record a whole lot, but I love it so much because it probably has the nicest cover art material out of all the records I own. I don't know how to describe it. It just feels very pristine and well crafted. I like it. Here I have both Excursions and Minecraft Volume Beta by C418. Both phenomenal albums that have wicked cool colored pressings. Excursions has more of a gray smoky look to it, while Volume Beta has a bright fire splatter pressing. This is Livecade by Black Midi. It's just on standard black disc, but I think it's gonna be worth a lot of money in a few years, so I'm gonna sell it then because I like money. Mid-Air Thief's album Crumbling gives Igloo Ghost a run for their money for the prettiest record I own. This pressing is just gorgeous, which fits nicely with the music because holy fuck, this album is ethereal. I'm gonna float away and die. And finally, maybe my most rare pressing yet, the deluxe version of Father John Misty's 2017 album, Pure Comedy. Now, normally this pressing isn't really that rare, but you see, my version is extremely rare because in the top right corner of the album artwork, you can see a dark black square. I have asked hundreds of people if this is on their pressing of this album, but to my knowledge, I am the only person in existence to have this album with a dark black square on the top right corner of the cover art. I've been offered hundreds of thousands of dollars for this pressing, but I just don't think I can get rid of it. It's just so unique to my collection, and it's just way too important to me to give it up. Why is there ominous music playing in the background? So yeah, that's just a little bit of my own collection, but hey, we're not talking about me here, we're talking about you. And you, my friend, are finally ready to start your very own vinyl/pizza stone collection. So now I can say, welcome. Welcome to the coolest hobby you will ever have. Holy fuck, I cannot finish that sentence without going into a deep, dark depression.